you know when the time's right, it will just come and it will feel right to leap. But, just make the most of every day, go and do what you're passionate about, especially if you're young. Because when you get older, you get commitments, it's going to get harder.
This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good morning, Bradley Morley. Previously, episode 958 of the 12-Minute Convos podcast. It's been just 3 years, 2 months, 10 hours, and 15 minutes since we last recorded that conversation.
Wow.
That was then. This is now. Bradley, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well, man. Thanks for the intro. I can't believe it's been that long. How fast has that gone?
I'm telling you, they say time has wings. I really believe it has jet booster engines, right?
Definitely. It's quite scary to think how quick it goes.
So, I mean, the podcast was the thing, right? And when you were, I think that happened twice on the podcast where I had two guests and at one time. And that previous episode, that's not even there anymore because I had to take it down because the person has gone into a job set type where they aren't able to put anything public on the internet, right? Interesting fact, right? So that means it's the one only episode with two people on there at the same time. How have things evolved?
Things have changed a lot. We stayed working together for quite a long time. We went into various different ventures together, but things just fizzled out. I think we had a relationship as friends before going into business, and that wasn't the best decision because you end up making emotional decisions rather than commercial decisions. And we just decided at the end of 2019 to go separate ways. So we're on different paths now.
Are you still friends though?
Not really, no. We went from being really close to not really speaking, but things may change.
It's interesting because, and this is not I told you so, please do not take this as I told you so.
No, of course. Yeah.
But I remember saying, hey, folks, like, please remember that the relationship is going to be the most important thing in the midst of anything and everything. Like, focus on the relationship. And that really is to the tune of, hey, get away from it if it's the relationship that's going to be broken up. But that's part of it, isn't it? It's part of this life.
Yeah, it's all part of the journey. Yeah, and I think if we didn't go through that, then I may have made the same mistakes down the line. So I'm quite glad I've been able to get that done and go through that experience now rather than, doubt ahead. So I know moving forward what to do differently now.
How old are you today as we're recording?
I am 26 now.
Yeah, you'll be good. Yeah, you both will join back. I'll tell you a quick story, and I hope you're listening.
Yeah.
I hope we get to see this. But I had a friend that I made in 2013, and yesterday I was talking to another friend in Tennessee, and he was telling me that, of course, he's telling me because this happened December 12th. 2019. So he's saying it a bit casual, but he didn't realize that I didn't know. And what happened is that friend died. He got in a hunting accident. It's like a freak accident. And I think that's important to note. You can die tomorrow. So I hope that's understandable. True. And you guys mend that relationship, for what it's worth.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good perspective. Shouldn't take it for granted. But we'll see how things turn out.
Yeah, unfortunately, it takes two people to mend the relationship.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So tell me how things evolve. You aren't the person to stop. I'm very sure of that. If I had to, wage a bet, I wouldn't think that you would stop, that you would give up. So what have you gotten into now?
So things have actually progressed a lot. So I think when we last spoke 3 years ago, I was still working in a full-time job and I was running the business on the side. So I was still working on the side hustle, and it was early days of the dream. Since then, things have progressed. I think 2 years ago, I left my job, went full-time on building an e-commerce academy with 3 other guys. We built that, in 12 months to quite a high standard, helped a lot of people start their own businesses. And then again, sounds like a common trait, but relationships kind of got in the way and things turned a bit sour. And this time it wasn't actually anything to do with me. It was more the guy that set it up. So the 4 of us then diluted down to 1, which was just him. And then from there, since then, which was last April 2019, I've been building a creative agency. So now we essentially work with online businesses, personal brands, people that want to work on content creation, whether it's for their ad campaigns, whether it's for their branding, their social media, anything to do with their business. That's essentially what we do now.
There's a voice that pushes us on, that urges us on, the voice of the podcaster, right? But more so, there's this inner voice that tells you, hey, you can do this, or you should not do this. How do you discern that voice, Bradley?
To be honest, 2 years ago, I was probably the worst person for, making decisions, in the sense of I just kind of said yes to everything. So, obviously from starting the podcast, we got a lot of opportunities as that arose, which I'm sure is something that you've experienced, and probably more so with the amount you've done. But, it enabled us to build a network. And from that, there come a lot of, requests to work on other ventures with other people and stuff. And I just probably said yes to everything. I got that, what people call shiny object syndrome, where I just thought everything was a good idea, until I realized I was trying to juggle too much and wasn't really getting anywhere. So that's when I kind of decided, now's the time to make decisions. And then obviously in that path becomes bumps where some decisions are going to be the wrong ones, and they'll teach you what's right, what's wrong, and to go with your gut. And I think it's only now that I can quite confidently say, moving forward, that things have come up I've said no to, and I felt confident about saying no to, and the same with yes. So I think it's just something that you're going to learn as you go, and you've kind of got to get your hands dirty to know what's going to be right and what's wrong.
Experience. It's part and parcel of the journey, as you correctly said. It's what it is. Unfortunately, again, coaches can help mitigate to some level, mentors as well, the experience. However, it's yours, and I believe it's always unique to the individual. Specifically, it's like digging deep to build the tall tower. Yeah, it's just what it is. So tell us about what's going on at Indigo Create, please.
Yeah, sure. So essentially, we've decided to narrow it down and focus primarily on content creation, which can be anything from motion design, graphics, to video production. And we kind of pride ourselves in being social driven content specialists. So all content that we create has the end goal of becoming, social driven. So whether it's formatable for things like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat, each platform is going to have a different way of communicating that piece of content. So we work with brands and online businesses and personal brands to kind of deliver that. So their content is actually going to be engaging. It's going to convert. It's going to help them build their profile and tell their story online. So at the moment, as I say, things have changed recently. It was me and my partner. Now it's just me, but I'm working with contractors. So eventually, my goal is to obviously build out a team as the work increases and grow this thing as a legitimate business.
That's wonderful. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Definitely congratulations on that. We've been opening up a conversation here as well, the conversation and the possibility of death, right? And oh my, it's hitting home even more and more, the possibility that we could die. I say today or tomorrow, but I mean, just in this second, right? It's possible.
Yeah.
Do you plan your day with that in the forefront of your mind, or is that something you put on the back shelf of your mind?
I think I've probably become to adapt more into that mindset, but I'd be lying if I said every day I do think that. I think sometimes when you get too busy, you can get caught up and you don't, you forget about those things. But I definitely, confidently can say there'll be a day in the week, every week, where that does go through my mind, whether it's things like, I'm too busy to spend time with my partner in the evening because I'm working, and I'll think, work can wait. Go and spend some time with people you love and stuff, or whatever it is you choose to do. I think sometimes you can get so engrossed into your work life that you do forget about those other things, and then you have to have a bit of a reality check and think, is this what I should be doing? And should I be spending more time experiencing the freedom I've got? So that does go through my mind every week, but I would like to get into a mindset where, I think I saw something the other day on an interview where Oprah apparently wakes up every morning and just counts a blessing for that day, just for being alive. So, it's a good way to think. I'd like to get into that mindset. I think sometimes I'll just fall out of it, and it does become a back shelf thing, and I just have to bring it back into the forefront.
At the age of 26, it feels as though there's an old guy living in a young guy's body. Where did that come from? That type of focus on, well, what is now considered the smaller things in life because of so many things that are going on around us, especially in your generation, right? Well, there's just like a ton of voices, right, that's going on. But what would you attribute that to, that ability to dive deep?
Yeah, sure. So I think it's probably a number of things. Family and how I've been raised. It will be to do with my parents and their outlook on life. I'll have a trait of that in me. I'll also have, I moved to Spain last year and lived there for 7 months.
Are you serious? That was part of your earliest childhood memory, right? Like you went there and you said the UK is not for you, right?
Yeah,
wow.
I know. Yeah. So last year we decided to move there. Me and my partner moved there, lived there for 7 years. Because I'd always said when I was working in my last job that I wanted to, be able to work from anywhere and kind of experience that freedom. So we just up and went. So that was a nice experience. And obviously seeing that part of it and experiencing that kind of way of life made me think more about, enjoying every day and things like that. And then probably another part of it is just due to in my last environment of working career, I was surrounded by a lot of older people. So again, like the kind of influence of their outlook, because they are at that age, made me think, well, I don't want to waste any second, in these early years when you've got people next to you that are saying, oh, to be 25 again, to be 22 again. And when you're actually that age, it makes you think, well, I don't want to waste it. So I want to try and make the most of every second.
Well, my friend, I can tell you that it is such of a great second plus another to be able to connect with you and have a conversation where I ask you, have you given up? And to know that you've not given up. Definitely there have been the ups and downs. You've not given up. And I do look forward to hearing from you again. Most of all, it is absolutely motivational and inspirational what's going on, right? So keep going, because I'm sure there are people around you that's looking at what you're doing and they will be influenced by your journey. So well done, my friend.
Thanks. You.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. In closing, before you go, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
I think I would just put it, on if there's anybody that I can kind of help in the sense of, take what you can from this. But, I've been there with working a full-time job, long hours, hating every minute of it for probably 5 years, spending the evenings till late working on something that I wanted to do with the aim to transition into that. And, when the time's right, it will just come and it will feel right to leap. But, just make the most of every day, go and do what you're passionate about, especially if you're young, because when you get older, you get commitments, it's going to get harder. And don't take life for granted. Go and do what it is you want to do.
Bradley Morley, folks, again, my friend, a great pleasure, one that I treasure.
Thanks.
Thank you for being on What Is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. This podcast is produced by Pod Edits. Visit podedits.com for professional podcast publishing.